What we're looking at is the Big Agnes AXL Air Insulated. This is the 25-inch by 72-inch pad. They have several different options, but the reason we're talking about this today is because I got this as a replacement back in April of 2018 for my Thermarest NeoAir Xlite. Now, when I first got this, I was not psyched about this pad. You could ask several people and they will tell you that I was considering getting rid of it. I actually contacted Big Agnes and was like, why is this thing not warm enough? And I'm not super psyched about the way that it's performing for me. Now, I want to talk about a couple things about that, because the important thing to realize about this is your temperature, or what your pad is capable of going down to temperature-wise, is going to be dependent on a few different factors. If the pad is pushing right up against the sidewall of the tent and it's drawing in cold air and just the cold from the outside wall of the tent into the pad, you've got conduction that's happening. So as much as you've got underneath you to protect you, if your pad is pushed up against the sidewall, you're conducting cold air that way. And the issue that I had is in a couple of my smaller one-person tents, the pad being 25 inches wide, I had less room in the tent, particularly in my Xped Mira 1, which is literally like 27, 28 inches wide. And so this being 25 inches, that was an issue of sleeping with a quilt and having that space basically open on my shoulders and stuff, and so I had conduction happening on the side of the pad, making it cold. That's not something that gets talked about a lot, but I've thought a lot about that aspect of why a pad might not keep you as warm. So that is one thing about this, that I probably would want to go down to a 20-inch pad, but not do the mummy shape because of the taper that you get from the NeoAir that I didn't enjoy over a longer period of time. But what I do like about this is, as I have used real sleeping bags with it, not quilts, I've slept warmer and down to mid-30s without a problem. And anything below that, it's been cold. And I've been cold sleeping on it with a quilt. So I would not recommend using this pad with a quilt. If you're using a sleeping bag, awesome. It's going to keep you warm. And the Primaloft silver material that is inside of the pad, which it basically cuts down the middle here, and you've got a sheet on this side and you've got a sheet on this side, it's going to keep you warm and reflect your body heat down to about the mid-30s. Now, I've taken a lot of time to make sure that that was an accurate thing, and I've used it in a lot of different trips, and I can say that it's a great 3-season pad in that sense. If you are in temperatures lower than that or using a quilt, I would not suggest this pad. You will be cold, you will not have a good night of sleep, and you will not enjoy your experience on the pad. Now to talk about the real pros of this pad and what I really enjoy about it. So I've got a 25-inch wide pad here that is 72 inches long, and it is right under 1 pound in weight. That is awesome. So I've got a really comfortable, wide, luxurious pad with 3¼ inches of height in the center, and then an extra ½ inch of height on the two sides that allow your body to not roll off the pad. And so it keeps you centered on the pad, and having that extra height compared to the NeoAir, which is about 2½ inches, really makes this a super comfortable sleeping experience. Now, the next thing to talk about is just the overall sleeping experience. Now, the Big Agnes is using a quilted type of design, and if you look at some of the really cheap, like the Outdoorsman Lab pad, for example, that you can find on Amazon, it's got a similar design, but the difference here is that you've got the TPU welded baffles, and you've got the height. The issue with those Outdoorsman Lab and those $30 pads in that design that have shared the same idea here is the welds come right together and you don't have any airspace between those welded pieces to create the baffles. So you still have the height off the ground and you've got that insulation in there that's going to allow your body to reflect that heat and make sure that you are nice and warm on the pad. This easily is the most comfortable sleeping experience that I have had on a sleeping pad. Hands down, I have loved every single night that I've had on it, minus being cold. And I know it's a little bit of a contradiction, but the quilted baffle on this is awesome. I just have been so impressed with it, and I'm really looking forward to spring coming around when temperatures are not as low and I can start sleeping on this again, because I've been sleeping on the X-Ped and this is a better sleeping experience. It just really is. The point that I want to make with this review more than anything is I've waited quite a while to talk about this because this pad has not been super popular. If you get on and look at reviews, like written reviews, either on Amazon or on Big Agnes's website or other places, people have really complained about this pad and it not being warm enough. I've used it for at least 9 months at this point, and I can say that in the right conditions, it's a warm enough pad, it's super comfortable, and if I had made my decision right off of the first or second trip that I took it out on, I would have ditched it a long time ago. But I wanted to give it a real try, partly because it was expensive. It's over $200. And so when you invest in something like that, it's important to make sure that you give it a good opportunity to prove its worth. And I've been happy with it. Initially, I hated this thing and I was ready to rip it up and throw it away. I was not psyched about it. The longer I've used it, the more impressed I am with it, and I understand the conditions that make sense and the sleep system, sleeping bag that I need to use with it to make it a proper sleeping pad for the 3-season conditions that I find myself in. So guys, that is my review of the AXL Air. I love this thing, super happy with it. It's a great pad, and I would definitely recommend it if you are sleeping in temperatures of 40, 45 degrees and above. Not using a quilt, you will be happy. It's a great pad, super lightweight, and I think that Big Agnes has done a great job of creating a product that really is positive and will last you a long time and be a great sleeping experience. So guys, thank you for watching. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please do. Hit that red button as well as the bell notification so that you get notifications when I post new videos. As always, guys, I hope you have an awesome day. Catch you on the next video.